Hey, stay tuned for a breakdown of how I wrote, casted, and funded my own TV show. But first, come with me to get coffee for my girlfriend before she wakes up.
Can I just get an iced oat mocha latte with brown sugar?
Yeah, of course.
Hello, this is a devlog of sorts, what could be the first of many. This is just sort of a way for me to be able to document progress on the development of my first ever live-action TV show. This has been in development for at least a year and a half, so I figured being able to actually show everyone what all I've been doing for that time would be very helpful to keep people in on the loop, but also it just probably needs to be chronicled, really. So a bit of a backstory and explanation. 2024, I was sort of going through a rough patch, wasn't exactly having much creative spark, and lo and behold, I was able to get it back once I decided to focus on making this series that I'd had on the back burner for a little bit. So the goal for this project is to pretty much get it done. I don't necessarily care about being able to make any sort of money from it or to be able to enter it into any festivals. This is not me trying to develop a pilot to get the funding to be able to make the episode. This is me doing it sort of in a traditional style, which is no, this is the entire series. So we're looking at 6 episodes, 30 to 45 minutes each. Total about 4 hours maybe. And if you're familiar with my other work, you'll know that I have no issue with spending a ton of time trying to really perfect something and finish it through all the way. That's definitely the approach with Roulette. I have no clue how long it will actually take to make in total. For this specifically, I'm just gonna try to make everything all in one go. And then whenever it's released, it's going to be very important to me that whether it be on YouTube or streaming or whatever, that it gets a maybe a weekly release or so. I don't want it to be all available right out the gate. I do love the sort of style of older television of having to wait a week for the next episode to come out. Sort of keep you wondering, which direction it's going in, what's going to happen next. I feel like with streaming, whenever you're given every episode just right out the gate, people tend to just binge watch, and when you binge watch, things kind of blur together. The actual premise itself is a very classic whodunit mystery in the vein of Clue or Knives Out, that sort of thing. 6 young adults are trapped in a big mansion, and one of them is murdered, and it's up to the others to try to figure out who amongst them has done it. That's definitely something I wanted to focus on when writing the script, was being able to have setups and payoffs. So if something in the first episode is sort of strange or you have questions about it, hopefully those questions will be answered by the end of the series, but not in a way that you're relying on that explanation to make everything make sense. You should be able to put together some clues. Keen-eyed viewers may be able to deduce who done it after, no time whatsoever. It's definitely a hard challenge to be able to write something that is difficult for the super sleuths to figure out, but not so hard as to where a casual viewer can't enjoy it and try to solve the mystery themselves. While the series definitely has comedic elements and sort of a lighthearted, not super serious nature to it all, I am definitely trying to lean more so on the character study side. This is my first time actually trying to develop characters in this sort of realistic way. Prior to this, all of the characters that I had written were pre-established and in the world of my Lego Batman universe, which is drastically different than trying to write your own original, more grounded characters. For writing the actual script, I'm using Writer Duet, which is probably the best script writing software that I've used. I pay for the full version to be able to make as many documents and projects as need be. But the second I finish the script, or at least an early draft of it, I was able to put out a casting call to try to find people to play side characters. I made this little animation to post to social media on Facebook and Instagram, and I also had someone print out flyers and put them up all across my former college in the theater department. Obviously, trying to find good, talented actors in Southern Illinois is not as easy to come by as it is in New York City, for instance. But to my surprise, I got lots of entries and tons of options of great actors to be able to choose from. I didn't feel like I was really scraping the bottom of the barrel at any point. So once it was all casted, I was able to start drawing some actual promotional art for it, to just sort of give an idea of what the final product may be like. Now, admittedly, this was sort of a double-edged sword because a lot of people understandably were asking, is this an animation? And the answer is no. I just don't have, footage or videos of these people because none of them live nearby. It's going to be a whole challenge to get them all in the same place, much less to get principal photography done. The actual project itself is going to be shot in a very unique way that I can't exactly describe. The closest thing I can kind of equate it to is like the Robert Rodriguez Sin City movies. But even then, I feel like they kind of missed the mark on certain aspects of that. They tried a little too hard, in my opinion, to make the environments feel real, that they kind of forgot just how fake some of these things look. After I started making all the promotional art, I began planning out the Kickstarter campaign. That took 6 months of work, not just of planning, but also in execution. I put probably way more effort into it than I should have. But the point is that I'm very happy with the final product. I'm extremely pleased with how the Kickstarter campaign turned out itself. Also, getting to learn about how to make a Kickstarter campaign, ironically, was more fun than actually running the campaign itself, weirdly. Originally, I was going to ask for $5,000, but then I was sort of convinced that if it's deemed something as cheap as that, people might think that the actual final product may be cheap. So the budget ended up being $10,000. Although I'm sure I will end up going over it, of course. Another thing that was important to me regarding the Kickstarter was trying to make it very clear that this project is different and special. This is not a cash grab. This is something that I just genuinely want to do because that's what I do in life, is make art. This is something that I'm going to put all sorts of effort into. It's very important to me in that aspect. And as such, I definitely wanted to make the reward tiers for Kickstarter something unique and special. I think if people are able to see, look at how much work was put into just the reward tiers, hopefully they could make the leap in logic that the final product will be also that level of quality. So for instance, $5 gets their name in the credits. I have no issue with sort of bloating the latter end of the credits as long as there is nothing in the middle of the actual show to interrupt.
Switch on privacy, switch off trackers and viruses. Go to nordvpn.com.
But for $25, did a CD mixtape. I would have absolutely loved to had used some of my favorite songs that I've been using as inspiration for the actual project itself. But what I was able to do instead was ask a bunch of small local artists to donate songs, or if they wanted to make a custom one for it, that works too. I also made the intro track to the mix, which is a big deal for me because I've never actually made a song. I've been making CD mixtapes since junior high, so I just burn everything onto a CD and made some fancy art for it. And then for $50, there was the coaster tier, which I regret doing. That's the only one of these tiers that I just absolutely wish I hadn't done. I work a lot with epoxy resin, so I was just if I have a design printed out and then put into a coaster mold, just pour some resin over it, boom, done. That proved to be so much more of a task than I was hoping for. It took several months months to do just because there's so many coasters to make. And just above all else, it's just sticky and gross, and I never want to make another coaster as long as I live. It ended up working out fine, but that was the only quote-unquote misstep, I would say, in the actual Kickstarter reward tier process. And finally, the biggest ticket item for the Kickstarter was a full-blown card game. Me and my friend Luke just kind of got together and developed the rules for a sort of quick and quaint card game. Proving to make the game itself ended up being a lot more fun than I was really expecting. We did a bunch of play testing, and I made the designs for the cards. And also to promote the game, you may have seen we also shot an entire commercial just for the card game itself. Making a whole commercial for a single card game is sort of unheard of in terms of what they typically do for Kickstarter. But I think it was worth it, one, to just have something live action shot for promotional reasons, but also being able to just draw some attention to the card game itself, kind of as its own product, definitely helped boost some of the sales. Anyways, once it came time to actually launch the Kickstarter, it was not as good of a time as I was expecting. Unfortunately, after the first week, people just dropped off entirely, and part of me was confused because I wanted to know why Kickstarter wasn't doing a better job at promoting it on their end. And that's when I sort of realized that, oh, because it's $10,000, Kickstarter doesn't really care because they take like 5% of it. The way Kickstarter's algorithm works is it doesn't see this project as important enough to really try to advertise to their homepage because it's not making that much money for them ultimately. We were actually a little bit short of the total amount of money, so I ended up just taking a loan out myself. You can do that, you know, I'm not proud of it, and it's whatever, I'm still paying it off, but ultimately, at the end of the day, this is what I want to do, and this is, you know, what I feel is important enough to try to put something as important as a loan towards. Then after that, I started revising the script and really procrastinating about revising the script. When you're writing a mystery, you have to be super concerned with the sort of logistical side of things, of like, now why would a character do that if he could have just done this? Then we also started having like read-through calls, making it a point to get everyone together all on Discord and just try to read through episodes of the script. But it was also very good to sort of hear these lines from the actors themselves. And of course, it also gets the actors more familiar with the material itself. Oh, and by the way, I'm biased, but I must give props. Elliot, you've done a great job narrating. I really do mean that. I think you could be the new Siri. No, wait, you're the new Watch Mojo lady.
Welcome to WatchMojo.com.
Say, welcome to WatchMojo.com.
Welcome to WatchMojo.com.
Dang!
Yes, dude.
Hey!
And now we're to the fun part of the process, which is storyboarding. I'm currently drawing each individual shot on paper and then scanning it into the computer to be able to reuse and edit. This part is taking forever though, holy cow. A big reason why is because on top of how long it takes to actually try to plan out a scene of how you want it to be blocked out and all that, it also takes a while just to draw these things. I am definitely the type to get hooked on details and kind of forget that like this is a storyboard, that doesn't matter. I kind of forget that I'm not drawing like a comic and instead doing a storyboard. And that leads me to the final little bit I was going to talk about, which is just sort of the future plans with this. It is currently April as of filming this, but we are shaping up to be able to film probably about late August. The plan there is to have all 6 main cast members all down at once for just about a 5-day period. A luxury I'm definitely afforded with the whole blue screen aspect of it is that I can comp people in that weren't originally in the scene, but I'm trying not to rely on that. That's more of a safety net than it is something that I want to sort of resort to every time. Because I think if you don't have actors in the same room together, you can tell in their final performance. As I like to call it, like the big week of filming, it is very daunting, but at the same time very exciting. I'm super stoked about it, but of course my anxiety brain is having a field day about it as well. I just wanted to sort of make this devlog to sort of cue you in to what I've been doing for the past several months to years. I'm about to start a new job, and so my ability to work on these things is about to be severely limited. So needless to say, I just wanted to give everyone an update. Hopefully this was a bit of a glimpse into what all's in the works right now, and I thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned. Bye-bye. That was good, dude. Do it again.